Hey everyone, Lisa Freed here, and you're listening to episode 55 of Before My Morning Coffee. And for the past few days, probably maybe even 30 days, as soon as I went to hit record, I had an idea about what it was that I was going to talk about. And then as we enter today, I don't have the slightest clue. I don't know. If I ask myself what's alive right now, my heart is hurting. I have a friend who lost her father. I have 3 little friends that lost their grandfather. And this is a situation and a circumstance where things are just, they're out of our control. And I don't know about you, but me, I identify as a control freak a lot of the time. So this feels like a reminder for me, and I'm not putting words in anyone else's mouth, to surrender and release control. And yesterday I was supposed to do a podcast interview talking about my experience with domestic violence. For those of you who don't know the story, check it out. I'll upload it on my Rebel Hearted YouTube channel and you can watch it there. But it's on my personal page. And I pulled a card beforehand because I wanted something that I just was looking for comfort in the moment as I was sitting with all the energy that was drumming up and stirring up. And the cards that jumped from the deck were, when I think of surrendered, I surrender more. I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with eyes of love, and hope is the conduit of miracles. Now, this can be a bit of a challenge to see somebody new, like see somebody for the first time with eyes of love, especially when you are bringing a bunch of story to the situation. At one point, a few years ago, my husband was doing a lot of writing around marriage, and he was talking about men's marriage formula. And so reading books, researching, really doing a bunch of relational development, that kind of thing. And then I was working all the dang time. So really, I think that he was doing all this research to put things into place to make sure that our marital foundation stayed really solid. And boy, am I so grateful that he did. I'm so grateful that he was willing to do the work for both of us at that time, where it wasn't 50-50 for our marriage, because I was significantly more leaning into work than I was into marriage. And so he was doing this reading and everything about this. And one of the things, because he'd leave a book laying around and I'd pick it up and read a few pages here and there and probably forget to turn it back to the page he was actually on. And some of the things that I read were, marriage is like an algebra equation. When one side of the equation changes, the entire equation changes. So sometimes it's not 50-50, right? Sometimes it's 98 and 2%. Like everybody's giving what they can in that moment. My grandmother, who was married for over 60 years, she would talk about that too, that everyone expects it to be 50-50. Well, there isn't. That's why you're in a partnership, because on those times where you can't give 100% of your 100% of your attention to the relationship, your partner is there to help you. You're not in it alone. You don't have to bear the weight of it all by yourself. And where things get into trouble is when that doesn't ever come back the other way. When it just becomes very much lopsided for long term. And the other thing that I was reading about that keeps slipping my mind as soon as I go to say it out loud, which is very awesome when you're recording a live podcast, is I got nothing. I forgot it. and it'll interrupt in the middle of another thought, and I'll think, boy, look at this. It doesn't even segue well. Yes. Don't you love episodes like this when you're like, I really wish the host would get their shit together? You're not the only one feeling that way. I am too. I'm really wishing that I knew what it was that I was going to say. And that's cool. We'll just breathe for a minute. And know that you will either glean some wisdom from what I've already said, or you won't. You'll either listen to another episode hopeful that I might say something wise in that one, or you won't. And there's nothing I can do to control that. I know that in these times, with things feeling uncertain and wanting to control all the things, or really leaning into what it is that we can control, and I'm watching myself try to structure or try to show up in a certain way and then be pulled back into this place of observation, or pulled up into this place of observation, or out into this place of observation. It's not necessarily back. And into this space of surrender. It feels very much like a wrestling match. I'm like, I want to be like, I should really be shoring up my business right now. I should be supporting my clients and my potential clients. And I should be like, push, 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 create, create, create. And the nudge that I get, the quiet whisper, is to just be. To be present, be in the moment, remain hopeful and joyful and playful and loving. So, I don't know what all of this is for. I do know that it is happening for me. I know that it is happening for you. I know that we are guided and protected and loved beyond all measure. So I wish you a day as beautiful as you, and I send you so much love from my rebel heart to yours. And I'll be back again tomorrow for another episode of Before Your Morning Coffee.